Hey everybody, let me adjust my tie here. Maybe I should iron this shirt. I'm with my dear friend Owen Doherty.
Hey everybody.
Good to see you. We're doing the show live from the corner of North Winooski and Archibald in the heart of the Old North End, the neighborhood that I think is the best neighborhood in the world. I think from the UVM to the high school, it really is. I know you're down in the South End. It's not as fun though, is it?
Not as fun in the South End.
Some nice apartments down there. Okay, we're on for 29 minutes. So let's start. I guess with the big beautiful bill, right?
Yeah, I mean here we are, the Burlington Democrats. Big beautiful bill, big beautiful act now. It's
something to campaign against.
Passed Congress. It's one of the worst pieces of legislation
ever.
Most certainly, I think actually, at least in this century. Largest wealth transfer from the bottom, 50% to the top 1% in our nation's history, just immediately. Huge tax cuts for billionaires and cutting of food assistance and Medicaid and other essential programs for a lot of people around the country. And
it's the rich white people get richer.
Exactly. So that passed last week, pretty big bummer.
Very close.
Certainly close vote. Not close enough in the end. J.D. Vance broke the tie in the Senate. And then the House passed it about the next day or 2 days later. It's pretty terrible. A lot of bad stuff in there. Phasing out of energy assistance, which was wildly popular in Vermont, clean energy transition.
A lot of jobs.
Tax credits for wind and solar projects phasing out by the end of the year, which will ultimately lead to higher emissions, more people sick, more people dying, and hotter climates as our
Medicaid cuts?
grid can't contain it. Yeah, Medicaid cuts. I think 13,000 people in Vermont will lose Medicaid.
Wow.
But not until 2028 because they're punting the ball on it.
What Trump has been able to do is he controls all three divisions of power. We've got a Senate that's Republican, and with J.D. Vance an extra vote. We remember how Kamala broke so many ties. Mike Johnson has, he can just put together a majority by a whisker. It was 218, 214.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Supreme Court, we have 6 conservative justices. And so I'm not sure what's happening here. This is a big victory for Trump. The Democratic Party's having a tough time right now.
Yeah, it certainly feels like we've been kicked and we're down, and doesn't feel like there's a lot of hope out there. But absolutely, can't lose too much hope yet, but tough loss.
Now, full disclosure, you work for Congresswoman Becca Balint.
I do work for Congresswoman Becca Balint.
What are her thoughts on this thing?
Her thoughts,
terrible.
This is the worst piece of legislation in United States history. And she voted against it multiple times.
Many times.
Absolutely was opposed to it. Stayed up all night voting against it with her colleagues, pushing back against it with her colleagues. There she is.
Good picture of her.
If you're losing hope right now, I want to direct you to we had a town hall on democracy. Nothing really about the big beautiful bill there, but certainly about democracy in the state of our country right now with some amazing panelists.
That was in Winooski, right?
It was in Winooski, and Town Meeting TV has it on their YouTube channel. So check it out. They did great coverage of it, and it was a good event. So if you're looking for something a little bit uplifting, a little bit of history, a little bit of law, a little bit of advocacy, check it out. It's about an hour long.
Winooski is the kind of town that really suffers from this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Poor immigrants, new Americans, working class people, musicians. Mm-hmm. It's not a rich town. The rents are going up, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And then we had the opposition, Bernie, Senator Sanders. Maybe we could put him up there, Kevin, and Peter Welch. Yeah, of course. There he is. I want to thank him for marching in both the Montpelier Parade and the Warren Parade. He must have been exhausted. Did you march in the Brattleboro Parade?
Brattleboro Parade, yeah, on the 4th.
How was that?
It was a great crowd. Brattleboro's amazing. We had a great crowd for the Congresswoman. And
her hometown.
Great folks all over the place marching, and great crowd watching as well. It was a short little route, but it was a good time.
Right, some of the routes are long.
Yeah.
Like Essex is long.
I guess they shortened the Brattleboro one. It used to
Brandon's
go through like
long.
the whole town, and they shortened it.
Yeah.
Brandon's a long
Did
one.
you see
yeah.
Lachlan?
No, Lachlan's away.
Okay. So the last couple shows we've done tributes.
Shout out Lachlan.
Yeah, Lachlan Francis, our dear friend. We did some tributes to Treasurer Mike Piechek's mom, who passed away. And she was a great lady. Got to meet her, know her, went to her wake. And then we did a tribute. We did a tribute to Jimmy Carter. I think we did 55 minutes on Jimmy Carter.
Couple months, yeah.
Did you read a 600-page book on Jimmy Carter?
No, I think I read the first 100 pages of the 600-page book on Jimmy Carter.
You knew a lot of it, though.
Yeah, it was a very good book I read. I think I brought it here. I don't remember.
And then we did a tribute to the Pope from Chicago. As I told you, last show, I was in New York outside the cathedral when I heard the news. I was just going in to light a candle, and I was really shocked. I was like, no, Chicago? Now, he's lived most of his career in Peru.
Latin America, yeah.
And I think he identifies as a South American. But he's going to be good. There he is, Pope Leo. I love him.
Should we talk about the New York mayor's race? That was the hot topic last
Look at that
last
cross,
episode.
man.
I know.
He
It's
looks
heavy, I
very
bet.
comfortable. I wonder how old it is. Could be ancient. So that's one thing about the Catholic Church. They really keep up their tradition and history, and they realized many years ago that's one of their strengths. Now, a lot of people, I'm Catholic, I don't really go to Mass. Even my 90-year-old mother doesn't go to Mass. But I kind of like the traditions and everything. So we'll see what he's doing here. He's come out against wars. He's come out for peace. He's come out for, the have and have-nots in the world. I think it was a very inspired choice.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk about the mayor's race for a few minutes?
Mayor's race. So if you were on with us last time, which if you were not, you can stop here and maybe go to that episode and check it out. We talked about the New York mayor's race, where there was a lot of great candidates, but ultimately it was kind of coming down to two once we got to June, Cuomo and Zoran Mondani. And we had our friend David here talking about it with us.
Did a great job.
And, things heated up in the final days. There was a lot going on, certainly. And although I think a lot of people were rooting for Zoran, weren't 100% sure that he could pull off an upset against the Cuomo dynasty in New York.
2,000 volunteers.
50,000 volunteers.
What?
50,000. 50.
Are you
and
sure?
then 3 more zeros. Yes. Yeah.
Cuomo was his usual cocky self.
And Cuomo didn't campaign at all. We talked about all that, and in the end, we thought Zoran might eke it out if ranked choice voting in like the second round or something like that.
But no.
But he had a big lead going after the first round, and it only built when they added the votes in the second round. And absolutely was certainly a mandate. And now we're seeing all the rich and powerful in New York try to figure out what to do.
Well, he's young. He is very, very liberal. He's much more liberal than me. There's been some stuff coming out about him. He was born in Uganda. But, hey, if I was born in Uganda, I think I would check the box for African, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think he has an interesting story of I guess America, and like a melting pot story of like, why, how do you define someone generally and how do you define yourself? So it's an interesting story. I think the New York Times is grasping onto whatever they can to make him look like a bad candidate. And so, I totally see where he's coming from.
They didn't make an endorsement, but I think deep down they wanted Cuomo. They wanted status quo. New York Times is status quo. 50,000 volunteers?
50,000, yeah.
And then he walked from the tip to the end of Manhattan. That was genius.
Yeah.
Cuomo just did
He went to a lot of churches, I guess.
Right. Cuomo just did a lot of fat cat events where the common person couldn't meet him. And he's afraid to be confronted. 11 women have credibly come forth to say that he made sexual overtures to them. Now, 1 or 2, you could say, hey, maybe someone's lying, maybe someone's bribed. But 11's real deal.
And
you got to take care of one, though.
The nursing home stuff during COVID, the taking money from the MTA to fund upstate ski resorts. There was there's a lot in Cuomo's closet, and it's well known, and I don't think he should be mayor of New York. And I think he knows that. I think right after the election he was saying he wasn't going to keep running.
But he's
right
kind of
now,
hedged on that.
Yeah, right now I think we're not really sure where he's at. I think Eric Adams and him are in this tit for tat right now, where they're both going at each other to kind of be like, you should drop out, you should drop out. If we're both in it, so Ron wins.
The mayor's not dropping out.
Yeah, but I don't think the mayor's going to drop out, and Bill Ackerman now and all these rich people are like joining the mayor's side, and the mayor's having a resurgence right now of support because
the mayor's the mayor. It comes with a lot of. He's on the news every night, especially with like crime or, public good. I actually kind of like. I like Eric Adams, but he's got a lot of baggage. He unfortunately trusted some very rough people.
A bit of baggage.
New York City's no joke, though. I like his story. New York City transit cop, went to college at night, state senator, borough president. I don't think he's been a terrible mayor. I think he's righted the ship in the last year. I think he's going to give Zohan a good race. Now,
the corruption things are bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
Now he's gonna focus on Zohan's age, which
Zoran,
I'm sorry, which to me is pretty young to be mayor of New York City. He's only been an assemblyman. He's been an activist. Unfortunately, the left, the pretty far left, they say things at rallies sometimes that, you don't want recorded and filmed and played back later, and you're in the heat of the moment. And we've seen AOC has done that. We also think that AOC might challenge Chuck Schumer. Now, if he's smart, he'll...
Or Gillibrand, now people are...
Yeah, but that's not till 2030.
Yeah, she's not up for a while, I think, yeah.
She doesn't seem like she's the most effective senator.
I don't think she's one of the most effective senators either.
No. Chuck Schumer is really part of the establishment, and I think he's done a lot of good things. He's a good liberal voice. He works hard. He cares about people. But by the time his term's up in 2028, that'll be 30 years. And I think there's kind of a feeling of throw the incumbents out. Now, for example, my congressman where I grew up in Hartford is 76 years old. His name's John Larson. And he just had a brain freeze somewhere. And, why is he running? And these machine-type cities like Springfield, Richie Neal, Worcester, Jim McGovern, who I like a lot, they're just so well known. They've been on the ballot, 15 times or something. John Larson, who's number 3 in the House, he was elected, I think, congressman in 1992. So let's talk about Burlington. We had some steep budget cuts. A friend of mine left his job, Brian Pine, which is a dear loss. Some really hard decisions had to be made. The mayor has the right to put her own people in, and the budget was very tough. Unfortunately, during Moreau's tenure, the city grew, I believe, over 500 jobs. And when that's over 1% of the population is working for the city. And that's not compatible in the long run, especially with now all the insurance and pensions and everything like that.
Healthcare costs going up.
Yeah, healthcare costs that's the killer. Maybe Trump can work on that.
He's not. Healthcare costs are going to go up, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Now, Peter Welch will have a difficult choice to make in 2028. He'll be 81 years old. Now, I would be supporting him, but I almost guarantee that there will be a challenge from the left. Maybe Tanya, what's her name? Tanya?
Verhowski?
Yeah, she's a state senator from Chittenden, very liberal. And, she's going to say stuff like, well, hey, our congressman, our governor, they're all in their 70s and 80s, white males. What are we going to do? Now, Peter's constituent service is so excellent, and he's really one of the most popular senators down there. And he's John Fetterman's best friend, so that's saying something. He can get along with anybody. You want to talk about 211?
Yeah, 211. So
We can put
if you
that
ever
up,
watched
Kevin.
the show before, you've seen 211, need help, dial 211. 211 is like the state hotline for any assistance you need, whether it be legal, housing,
Medical.
food, medical, computers,
Psychological.
libraries. They will connect
Getting
you
a phone.
with the resources in your area, statewide, national, whatever it is. Dial 211 for help.
And that's a toll-free line, and that line needs to get more action because I heard it was rumored to be on its way out because it hasn't been used. But people sometimes are very they're very reluctant to seek help, and everybody needs help once in a while. You know. So talk to us about what you've been working on for Becca Bellin.
What have I been working on for Becca
Yeah, you
Bellin?
tell me.
Well, I talked about the town hall.
Right.
That was last week, and the big beautiful bill. Certainly a lot of action with that. People wondering, you know, what's going on, how will it affect them? Trying to communicate the difficulties and the concerns that we have about that bill to Vermonters and to the whole country. So a lot of action there going on, and yeah, that's been the kind of big driving two things the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Now you guys do a lot of constituent service. Also,
Yeah, we do over 2,000 cases a year.
also want to congratulate David Scher, and what is Charlie's last name?
Glisserman.
Charlie Glisserman, his wife. They got married, and they built a new house.
Congratulations
So,
to them.
great people. That's Owen's boss, who loves Owen, and he's just former city chair, former county chair, former candidate for state senate. Came very close. Came in 7th, I believe, but he has a bright future in politics.
Yeah, certainly.
He's also a very nice guy. Well, what about that terrible accident down in Texas?
Yeah.
It shows you that the proper warnings weren't in effect.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit about that. If you didn't see, massive flooding in Texas killed 100 people. The
100?
death toll is rising.
Still many bodies left to be
Still
found.
many people missing, I think. So certainly deeply concerning. And yeah, the county government had talked about putting in place flood warnings and flood gauges for many
Needed
years.
$1 million, nothing.
They needed it, yeah, but small county. I mean, $1 million. I think about like $1 million for
Huge in
budget of Jericho.
right, but huge in terms of land.
Yeah, huge in terms of land. Very poor, not a lot of people, and never talked about it for years. Never did it, and
Put it off.
Now, yeah, 100 people are dead, including many people at camp.
Young kids.
Excuse me, multiple camps, and yeah, terrifying stuff coming out of it. The pictures are terrifying and familiar to Vermonters, I think, as well.
From Irene, and was it Katrina?
Last year or 2023.
Seems like we have these now. I believe the rain reached 29 feet and 45 inches fell. Now,
and it was like in 15 minutes, it was rising 15 feet in
Right.
some places.
they say a foot of snow is an inch of rain. So you can't even imagine that. I pray for those people. I pray for the rescuers. It looks so mucky and dirty and cold and scary. And, you know, our heart goes out to them. Thank you. Saying hi to our line producer, who does all the master of the toys and puts up all the stuff. I want to send some best wishes to Joe Biden. I think he's fighting the cancer. I heard he's taking the train, which he loves, which puts him in a good mood. And his cancer, I don't think it's quite as bad as we thought. I don't believe it's in his bones. Unfortunately, I wish he had had exams beforehand. The problem with the president is no one wants to tell the president, hey, you got to have this exam. You got to go to Bethesda Naval Hospital. You don't look well, or you don't feel well, or you're not eating right or going to the bathroom right. No, I mean, I know that from Moreau Weinberger. I never give him bad news, and the former mayor. And even with Emma, who's on a different party than me, and I have definite disagreements, I try not to ever come on too strong with her. Let's talk about 28, the presidential. What do you see? I guess Pete Buttigieg, Tim Walz.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people already.
Kamala?
Gavin Newsom,
Gavin,
Who
yeah.
knows what Kamala's going to do, whether she's going to run for governor of California or not. I don't think she's
I
decided
think that's a
yet.
mistake.
Why?
Because she's been gone from California for a long time. That's when Richard Nixon, after he lost to President Kennedy, he ran 2 years later for governor and he got blown out.
I think she'll win, though. That's the difference.
You think she can win?
I think she would clear the field. People would leave
Clear
the
the
field.
Democratic field.
And then she would. I don't think California's going to elect a Republican for governor.
No, they're not.
No, so I think she would win. But is it a good career move? I don't know. Being a governor gets you a lot of responsibility and a lot of baggage, too.
That means you don't run for
bad
president
decision.
in 28, though.
She still could.
Yeah, but
2 years later.
come
people
off
have
as
done
an
it.
opportunist.
Well, she was vice president of the United States already,
know.
so.
Right, there's only one higher office.
Gavin Newsom.
He comes
Andy
off kind of
Beshear,
slick for the
Beshear.
East Coast, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's West Coast.
We saw him at the convention.
Obviously, he's West Coast born and bred.
Pretty boy haircut and
Looks like
everything.
it.
I like Tim Walz, actually.
I like Tim Walz, too.
Who else? Not.
Cory Booker, people think.
Oh, Cory
wants
Booker would
another
be
stab
excellent.
at
Josh
it.
Shapiro.
Josh Shapiro, definitely.
Andy
Gretchen
Beshear.
Whitmer.
Maybe Mikey Sherrill. She's way ahead in New Jersey.
Maybe.
I'm throwing this out here. I just talked about this with Owen. We're going to try to organize a bus trip to New Jersey because you see in the off year, there's only 2 gubernatorial elections. And that is New Jersey, where they're term limited, and Virginia, which is very interested. The governor cannot succeed himself. Now, he can run again after 4 years, but Abigail
Spanberger.
Right, former CIA operative. When I was in New York, I saw a lot of commercials for Mickey Sherrill, former fighter pilot, congresswoman, comes off very magnetic, people person. I think she's going to win that race. Abigail might be a little different. Virginia's much more Republican, especially south of Richmond. I would see Trump maybe getting into that one pretty big because it's near Washington. What do you think Governor Scott is going to run again? I do.
I don't know, but I think probably. I think he will probably run until we least expect it.
Right. I
He'll
think
just
maybe
keep running,
he wants to
yeah.
wait till Trump is gone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I've never voted for him. I have a lot of differences with him. I don't like how he campaigns. He never comes to Burlington. And, hey, Gov, we'd love to have you on the show. We'll keep it cool, I promise.
Yeah, we got a chair right here.
Our friend Mike Pichek would be the, excuse me, that was a bit of a sore throat. Our friend Mike Pichek would be the Democratic nominee. I've already endorsed him. Have you endorsed him?
Well, we'll see if he runs. I don't like to endorse until people actually want to be governor,
right,
or be something.
I think that if Governor Scott doesn't run, he will run. Muriel Weinberger has talked about running. Like Keisha Rom, maybe Charity Clark. I'm trying to think. John Rogers. He's a character, huh?
Yeah, he is.
How do you think his strength is?
His strength?
Yeah, weak.
What is his strength? Or
It's thin.
I don't think he has a lot of strengths.
I wouldn't know
I
him.
think he's kind of a kooky guy. There he is.
Cannabis grower, kind of
Farmer.
backwoods redneck, kind of a mix of libertarian, liberal, and conservative. He's going to have a tough time. He's going to have a tough time getting that coalition together because the left they don't want to work with the moderates or the right. Now, do you think the left has moved too far left and we're having problems with them and they're just so easy to campaign against? What do you think?
In this
I'm a moderate.
country, in this country,
In Vermont.
like the Progressive Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Progressive Party has been difficult to work with.
Right.
I think that they're not presenting a vision. I think that they're not being good partners in government either.
No,
and neither are the
they
Republicans,
want.
But they. Actually, the Republicans are probably being better partners in some parts of state government, especially, like in the Senate. And we've seen like a lot of Democratic progressive lawmakers drop the progressive label because they've realized that it's not useful for them actually getting anything done in the State House.
Now, we lost more seats proportion in the House and Senate than any state. Now, that caused...
We lost a majority of all the State House seats lost in the whole country.
And wow. And we didn't carry a single swing state. It was very difficult. Owen and I were at Chicago, and obviously with Mr. Biden being sidelined, Kamala only had 15 weeks. She did the best she could, but it was virtually impossible. The one thing about Trump, he's been on TV every night since 2015. That's 10 years. And unlike other candidates that lost and maybe ran again, it's been a long time, he just constantly campaigned and raised money. Now, I've been reading in the New York Times, they're very tough on him, that...
It could be tougher.
Yeah. Well, Republicans buy the New York Times. And they're always looking out for the stock market, Owen.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah. The market is up. The market is up. We worried with those tariffs. You see how America is very strong. Now, Trump calls himself a peacemaker. We've got to end this war in Ukraine. It's just slaughter. The Russians have lost 1 million men. That's more people than live in the entire state of Vermont by 300,000. Eventually, Putin, he's 73, he will have to retire or die, and they're going to have to come some real politic and make some... now, Ukraine will probably have to make some concessions that are unfair and terrible, but the war needs to end. It's cost us a fortune. And, I know we send them weapons, but those weapons are killing young people. And, wars are fought by the young. And these guys don't even know what they're fighting. I saw North Korea's got troops over there. And so I saw coffins. What are they doing over there? My dad was in the Korean War, and, still nothing has changed there. It really bums me out. We have 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you take it out, buddy.
All right, what do you want me to take it out with?
Whatever you want.
All right, I hope everybody had a good 4th of July holiday and, enjoyed hot dogs and enjoyed thinking about the things that are really American, like real independence, real freedoms, democracy, all the things the Republican Party does not stand for. Thanks so much for watching today. Call 211. That's me and Andrew outside Nectar's, Rip Nectar's, and thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for everyone that makes this program happen every week. Town Meeting TV is a great community resource, and you should support them in whatever way you can.
Jordan,
And we got Jordan, Kevin, Steven, and the whole team here. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your week.